This is Reality Dispatch, written by Jim Mintz.
Roger needed a moment alone. The fear of what he might see outstripped the certainty of what he would be seeing later that day. At first, he believed that the lack of a paved road and the bumps that spawned from the rocks and potholes along the sandy path that the Jeep drove on to get them toward the known mass grave was the cause. Perhaps he was just suffering motion sickness. However, his heartbeat had never raced at such a pace when he was sick before. He was at least 10 to 15 feet away from the others who had gathered around the Jeep from their French guide, Eamon. When the translator was done giving his instructions to the gathered media, he made his way over to Roger. "That a cannon?" he said, pointing at Roger's SLR camera, dangling on its strap around his neck. "Pentax," Roger replied. "Which model?" Roger shrugged. "The one that works," he said. "You're not much of a camera nerd?" "Nope." "That's surprising for a photojournalist. It's not the tools, it's the eyes." Roger lit a smoke to ease his consternation. "My friend, we are eager to begin." "Why are you over here?" Eamon asked. Roger exhaled and changed the subject. "Tell me, Eamon, why are you here?" "What's a Frenchman doing in a war zone?" he asked. Eamon lifted his hands in surrender. "My friend, remember I told you, I do not wish to be a part of your story." "You aren't," Roger insisted. "I just want to know your story personally. Tell me, and only me, what is your deal here?" "You got another one of those?" Eamon asked, indicating towards Roger's cigarette. Roger lifted his pack for Eamon to extract one. The Frenchman leaned in as Roger lit it for him. As he exhaled, Roger asked again, more directly, "What's a Frenchman doing in war-torn Syria?" "Yes, but you see, this is not war-torn Syria," Eamon said. "This is free Syria." "Okay then," Roger said with a grin. "I'll ask another way. No need, my friend. If you truly wish to know why you have a French translator on your journey with you today. I am Syrian. I moved to France with my family at a young age, and now with the fall of the Assad family, I have returned to visit the place of my birth and the legacy of my culture." "Fair enough," said Roger. The two men share their smoke in silence. Roger kills the moment with his questioning. "But why come back, if you are a truly Frenchman now?" He genuinely wanted to know the appeal. Roger had spent a little over 6 hours in the country since being notified of his deployment, thanks to the editors of Live magazine failing to find any other suitable candidates for a dispatch. He wondered if it was a punishment afforded him due to his behavior at the recent Christmas party. Welcome to a country with no booze and no adult entertainment. Death all around and grief on every corner. Enjoy your assignment. I am a Syrian. We never truly left. Even if I did grow up in France and learn to speak French and English and learn the ways of the French people, when I came home every night, I came home to a house that was Syrian. My house was in Syria. I always thought of Syria first before allegiance to all else. I am Syrian first, French second, Eamon said with a sternness that Roger didn't buy. "How do you reconcile what you have seen while you have been able to set foot in this place again?" Roger asked, cutting to the chase. Eamon puffed his smoke and choked on the inhale. He coughed loud and hard, enough to change the subject. "I think we ought to get back to the others. It's not good manners for me to abandon them," he said. Roger tugged him on the shirt. "I've been here 6 hours and I haven't seen anything, and I've done that on purpose," he said, leaning in close. "The first thing the editors of my magazine back home wanted me to do when I arrived here was to set foot in Sednaya, the most notorious prison on the face of God's green earth, literal hell on earth. They want me to go from cell to cell, chamber to chamber, and document what I see. Take photos to last a generation, and pin down what it is that humanity lost when it decided to rip the guts out of hundreds of thousands of people. I told them to get fucked. I said there was no way in hell I was going to set foot in that place. You can fire me, you can bill me for this trip. I do not care. I am not going." I was on the phone, so I can only imagine the looks on their faces when I spat their direct orders back at them. Now instead, you bring me here to a hole in the ground with no information but the length of time that it would take for the Jeep to get there. I timed it on my wristwatch, and we were on the road for 2 hours and 38 minutes. A little lengthier than the projected 20 minutes that you promised us when we left the hotel. Now, I know this isn't any old hole. This is one of the main known mass graves inside the Syrian borders. Been in operation over 2 decades. So I'll ask you again, what do you get out of giving Westerners like us a tour of the worst hits of the Syrian regime? As a proud Syrian man, please enlighten me. I'm dying to know. Eamon threw Roger's arm off his shoulder. He leaned in closer, their noses almost touching. Have you ever watched your mother cry herself to sleep? Have you ever had to watch your father renew a prescription of sleeping tablets for years on end just to get her to feel numb enough to fall asleep at night? I did. That's what I had to live with every day in our 1-bedroom apartment. Nothing but tears. My mother could not cope, and she ended up dying of a broken heart. I never knew why she held on to such sadness for so long. She never told me. It wasn't until last week when the government fell, and I found myself in a position to be able to come here. Come home to my home country and see for myself. No grandparents, no cousins, no aunties, one single uncle. The only living relative of mine still alive. All the others had disappeared without a trace. As if they had vanished under a spell. No stories left behind. No notes, no trial, no procedural fairness. Are you accusing me of coming here to glorify the tragedy that is my country? Eamon asked, visibly shaken. Roger felt his ego subside. He was ashamed of himself. Mr. Dayton, I am here to bring people like you to the sites of the horrors, because the whole world needs to know what happened here. The whole world needs to be able to see what evil men are capable of committing. I need to do this not just for my country, but for my family, the ones who vanished without a trace. With every journalist I bring to a site like this, or Sednaya, the better chance I have for justice. That my cousins didn't die in vain. He turned away from Roger in disgust as he threw the butt of his cigarette to the floor. He addressed the 5 other journalists still standing around the Jeep awaiting his direction. We are not far from here. We will walk the rest of the way, Eamon instructed. Roger dropped his cigarette at his feet and watched as it was subsumed into the sand, vanishing before his very eyes.
For more stories of fact-based fiction, head to jimmins.substack.com.